Part two. So my buyer was like, man, I gotta take a nap. That's how I knew he was really depressed about it. Cause that sounds like something I would do. If I'm depressed about something, I just be like, man, I just gotta just sleep it off, man. I'm gonna go take a nap. And I was like, man, he was really saddened, which is unfortunate because um it wasn't something like, it was just out of his control. It was out of my control. It had nothing to do with like him, or it wasn't something where we could like, oh, if we would have just tried a little harder. It's like, no, like it's just not, it's like it's really not personal. And sometimes that is depressing because it's actually not personal. It's not like, oh, if I could have just been more or tried or just did something or had this other type of emotion, that would have changed things. It's like it wouldn't have. It wouldn't have. It's not you. It wasn't. You're not the one who. Like, unfortunately, it's like you're not the one who can change the things about, like, the condominium, which is like 30, 40. I think it's like 100 units in there. So you can't be the one person who says, I'm gonna make this place, whatever. The one person who is doing that isn't doing enough. And that's why they don't have all the paperwork in order. It takes a team of people. But personally, it's like, man, if I could have been, there's nothing like you could say like, oh, if I could have been more. Which is sad because it's like, kind of feel like the world is against you, and there's like a big weight you just can't get off your shoulders. So you're like, man, I'm gonna just go lie down, man. Just go sleep in the bed or something, and maybe when I wake up, I'll feel better. So I felt bad for him about that. I mean, I kind of was feeling the same way. I was like, man, what? We're not gonna close on this. Like we got all the paperwork. We're still getting paperwork in. Like the guys, like the seller and the agent, they're not like, they're cooperating, right? They're trying to get the deal closed, just like we're trying to get the deal closed. They want to sell it. We want to buy it. Sounds like a win-win. Like, hey, everybody wins. You sell it, we buy it. Hey, what more could you ask for? And then they're like, hey, well, the lender's like, well, we're not going to give you any money because we don't think we're getting nervous, right? Or like their risk tolerance is low, even though people are living over there in those units already living there. So it's just like, y'all are in the business of loaning money. The man needs to get a place, and he makes enough money to get the loan. It's just not good for anybody. So that the deal fell apart. So now I was talking with my broker. I was like, how do I go about, getting my, well, you don't know, but now I'm going about getting my buyer his earnest money back so we can actually like, okay, like, yeah, we spent time and effort in getting this place and getting it fixed up and getting them to fix it up. Getting the seller to make the repairs that were necessary. It's like, but since we're not going to close on it because of the community not having the paperwork, now it's up to me to get the buyer his deposit back. And that's something I'm working on doing because I don't want to say it's anybody's fault, but like in these type of things, we do have a contract, right? We have a contract. The contract is based off of performance. So in this case, for us to have fulfilled the contract, we needed to have closed on it. But since we didn't fulfill, it is somebody's fault. Like there is a reason that this is not going to go through. And so this is kind of where it like falls into like a gray area of I guess you could say justice, maybe. It's more of like it's really like an ethical dilemma. It's not like a legal thing or a moral thing. It's definitely an ethical dilemma. And conveying my truth, our truth, to the attorney and to the seller that, hey, we should get our earnest money back because we were cooperating and we turned in all our documents on time. Yes, our contingencies under the contract ran out. However, it wasn't like you guys did not provide all of the documents that were necessary in a timely manner for us to know that this place wasn't actually a condo, because there's no condo association and you had it labeled as a condo. There's no like, that's why we should get our money back, because I could really explain this much better. And really, these type of things, it's best to not explain them by yourself. It's also best to get counsel on these type of things, to get a third party's view on objectively of like what the situation looks like from the outside. Because it's like, me being in the middle of it, it's hard for me to like actually say like, yeah, you know, like, well, the fact that you guys weren't able to provide these documentations means that you were the reason that the deal got held up, because whether or not you intended to, but you constructively withheld documentation, which prevented you. It's not our, like, it's not, I don't own the condo. You own the condo. You should have these documents to provide. And constructively, you weren't able to actually provide these documentations. So for that reason, you are the person who is holding up the contract from closing. So we're going to give them their earnest money back, me and my buyer and I. And, you know, the other guy might say something like, oh, well, you know, it took too long and they ran out of contingencies and it was their lender who wasn't able to get the deal done, and they're selling condos all over the place in that community. And like, he's like, yeah, they can't say those things. It's like, but inside of this deal, the contingencies ran out. That is true. That is true. However, see, that's like, it's a dilemma, because it's really like, it's like, man, like, okay, yeah, the contingencies ran out, but we have a final contingency on the closing date. So we found out before the closing date that the loan wasn't going to go through. Why did the loan not go through? Like, if you just look at it surface level, it's like, oh yeah, the contingencies ran out. It's like, true, but they ran out because you didn't provide all of this documentation that the lender was needing until right now. And then when we look a little bit deeper, it's like, this documentation, you don't have it. And it doesn't exist. And you're saying this is supposed to be a condo, but there's no condo documentation. It really just depends on like if this person, or like, yeah, on several things. If the party is like a shallow, or like they just look at like first appearances, or if the party is person who's like, okay, I'm gonna dig a little bit deeper, I'm gonna probe, I'm gonna uncover some information, like why, or they're not just looking at surface level happenings. Because like everybody wanted to close, not like we were not trying to close. Even they wanted to sell, we wanted to buy. It's unfortunate that can't happen, because the lender is not going to loan money on a place that isn't actually an HOA. And like, truth of the matter is, it's not like a personal thing. Like, anybody who gets a loan in that community, or even not anybody who gets a loan for that property, is going to say the same thing. Any lender is going to say, hey, there's no HOA. Hey, there's no condo. So that's a material fact about the condo. My buyer and his lender have no control over that. It wasn't like, oh, he went and charged up a bunch of stuff on his credit card, so, you know, he just didn't qualify for the loan. He qualified for the loan. However, the condo doesn't qualify for a loan. And it's a conventional loan. Like, it's not like a FHA loan, or, you know, it's a standard conventional loan. So unless someone comes in there with cash, which they're probably not going to do, then any person who's buying that place, any first-time home buyer, even if it wasn't your first time buying a home, there'd be no reason to pay for cash at that place. Like, you get you get a higher return on your investment somewhere else. So it just depends, and then hopefully the other agent and we can work it out. I mean, it's just it's $1,500, right? So it's not like a lot of money, but if we can get that back, cool. If we can split it, cool. If they don't want to really listen to any of that type of stuff, I can just talk to the attorney. I'm sure the attorney will be like, either give us the whole amount or split it, and we'll just be able to like move on from there. So it is, it happens. The deals fall apart. The first thing that came into my mind is start every day at 0. Yep. Tomorrow's a new day. I don't have to, but I'm going to, I have it set on my schedule that I'm going to pass out. I'm trying to pass out 300 business cards tomorrow. I'll go find a new neighborhood, pass out 300 business cards with my scooter. And yeah. And in fact, like my broker, he sent me another buyer lead. So I called them up. She should be sending me some properties. And then I'll follow up with her like probably tomorrow or Saturday. I'll know some more information at least by Saturday, before Saturday. And then I was talking with the guy I met up, my associate, on Monday. He was like, yeah, Cam, I just got my license, and I'm starting over from ground zero. And I was like, wow. I was like, how do you feel about that? I don't know how he felt about it, because I feel like in many ways I'm starting over from ground zero in different areas. And he's like, it's really, I was like, I'm wide open. I don't have any preset ideas. And I was like, oh, okay, like that. When he said that, like he has no preset ideas, that made it was really novel for me, because I'm like, I definitely do have preset ideas about how my career, real estate, how all that's supposed to play out. And should get rid of those. I even wrote it down, get rid of preset ideas. So yeah, start every day at 0. And that's like the other side of the coin of starting every day at 0. Get rid of preset ideas. Stay wide open. So I'm hearing it in multiple places from different people. And I'm like, okay, so like put it like this. Like my grandpa was saying that, because I was telling him I needed to sell some stocks, pay off a credit card. He was like, well, sell the stocks, get rid of the credit card, don't pay credit card interest, start over at 0, start over. And then this guy, my associate David, is saying that he's in that area of his life right now. And then the content that I'm consuming about real estate is like, start every day at 0. And so I'm just like, wow, now this this deal blew up, or it fell apart, whatever. So I actually am starting that, and then what's my bio is like, okay, so we're starting back at square one. So it's like I'm getting a lot of people around me who are saying like, starting at square one, get rid of preset ideas, start over, stay wide open. Well, not stay wide open, but like, I'm wide open. That's like 3 or 4 different, like just different advisors, associates, colleagues, coaches, all saying the same thing to me, of just starting over, which is just like, I didn't really get that. I didn't really like that piece. That's a eureka moment. I only got it in reflection, but it's like, okay, so if I'm starting over, I wouldn't tell myself that like I got to pass out 300 business cards in one day. Now, if I can do it in one day with a scooter because I'm faster, I'll definitely do it with a scooter. Like that would be pretty, really cool. But the goal is 1,000 a month, and although that's not enough to hit my like goal, and I upped it to 4,000 to 6,000 a month, so 1,000 a week. Um, I would just still just say take it a day at a time. If you can do 300 in a day, definitely do 300 in a day. But if you feel like you're tired or your feet hurt or it's about to rain or you need to go eat some lunch, like just go get some food, man. Like this stuff shouldn't be like this difficult, or you shouldn't have to starve yourself to complete the job. It should be a steadily moving toward your goals at a comfortable pace. Now don't get lazy, but it should be like if it was a pace, like the reason it's called a pace, like if you were jogging, right? A jog is not a walk. A walk is not a run. But you can run at a pace, at a jogger's pace. Yes. So that doesn't mean you're walking, but you know, like I know what I mean. Just because you're jogging doesn't mean you're walking. So you're pacing yourself. So it's again like yeah, the project. I mean not the project, but the deal fell apart. It happens. It's not like you know. It's just one of those things like my broker was like, "Oh, you're in your stripes." Yeah, I just want to know like I just want to make sure my buyers like I don't he's got to sleep on it, so we'll have to go back to the drawing board and really see if we can find him something in his price range, which was already a challenge, but it's all challenges anyways. And I do want to end by saying I have a belief, and this belief I think is probably one of the key things to what keeps me motivated on a day-to-day basis. And I believe that what's for me is for me, regardless of what point in time it is. So, for instance, if I'm meant to be the person I believe I'm meant to be, I am that person right now. I am that person in the past. I am that person in the future, of course. That doesn't mean I don't have challenges or I don't have obstacles. It just means that the person that I'm meant to be, I'm them currently. Whether that amounts to like how much money I have, or what type of friends I have, the relationships I have, the quality of my life, the grandness of my life, the gregarity. That's just what I'm saying. Like, so for instance, like if I believe in the future, I'll have a business employing at least 50 people. Well, then like even now, I'm like, I probably have that same type of influencer. It just means like if I'm doing that in the future, then I'm doing the groundwork, or I'm doing the legwork, or I'm doing the same thing probably to do that, to be that right now. So maybe I just believe that what's for me is for me, whether or not it's in the future, the past, or the present. So like for instance, like I have a book on stocks. Like I'm sure like I'll have a very large stock portfolio at some point in time, and that could be I could say the past, because has it been bigger than what it is currently? No. So whether that's in the past, the present, or the future. And by that I mean like all these like different alternate realities of my life. So that's just what I believe. Like that is not, it's not just what I believe, but I believe that because my life I've just seen like so many things happen that like I could be dead, could not be dead. Like What's a career when you think about the infinite expanse of time and space? It's just what you do during the daytime. What about like at night, or what about when you take time for these videos, or you take time for your family, or you take time for your friends, or you eat, or all the other stuff, you have your hobbies, or you read, or you take a bath, or you wash your face, or you groom yourself, or you buy clothes and you shop and all those other things, or you meet new people, or you have fun and you enjoy, like, you know what I'm saying? There's all those other things which affect your life and have like they have an influence on how you are a part of society. So I believe that like those experiences that are like your destiny, you will achieve and you will get. And so maybe that means, like, you know, you got them from your ancestors, or you got them from like your DNA, or you got them from your past lives. Um, I don't know. There's a lot of there's some mysteries out there in the world, which it would be interesting to. Yeah, I don't know. I will never know. We'll never know. Maybe. So yeah, it's just, but that's too out there. I'm just really thinking about, like, man, I'm just kind of depressed because this deal fell apart. My buyer's depressed. I'm sure the seller is like, what? We spent all this money getting this place fixed up and they're not going to buy it. It's like, hey, don't worry, man. You can still sell it to somebody else. You still got your condo. My buyer, he still has his loan. So we can go find him another condo or another house. And, yeah. So I'm gonna watch this back. Sometimes I feel like I don't really like come across as like as sad or as like frustrated as I feel. But I'm definitely frustrated about this because I'm like, man, this was like 45, it's almost over 2 months. It was like we originally signed this contract in July, like early July. And it's like it's the 31st of August. We're gonna close on September 3rd. So that would have been like almost a full, well, it would have been like 6-7 weeks. Not including the time we spent looking for a place. So it's really been like 2 months. And I'm looking at my face. It should really be more of like a